let's go to the Arsenal fan. SB, what were your thoughts on the game?
Wait, before he starts here, remember last week when SB said, I'm not even worried about West Ham. We always beat them. So yeah, that's a little precursor to your comments, isn't it?
If
The,
if
the,
if
the
if
table is
if,
yours, bro.
if I did say that, I still shouldn't have been worried about West Ham because the way we pops them in the first 10 minutes, it was just like playing against. It was like men against boys. It was like we looked levels ahead of them. It looked too easy for us, and it literally was too easy for us. We took a 2-0 goal lead in the first 10 minutes. How many times does that happen in the Prem game? Not many times,
Uh,
unless there's a big gap in
happened the
level.
week after versus Liverpool.
To be fair, it does seem to happen a lot with Arsenal. Arsenal, they do set the tone well, and they do get a lot of early goals.
Yeah, we do start quick, but I don't think we've ever had it easy. I don't think we looked. I don't know if we looked so good that it was meant to be a 2-0 game or they were so bad, but whatever it was, we stepped up, we showed up, we were popping it. I think after like 15 minutes, we just literally thought it was too easy and took our foot off the gas and just we're passing it for passing its sake. And it was very, very evident. We do this all the time whereby when we feel a game's too easy for us as a team, we get too complacent. And yeah, we go into our show, we invite the other team onto us. Sometimes and we actually gave away a penalty. And in my opinion, it was a dive, but if you want to give it, it is what it is. Even if
You
they
talking about
scored,
the Gabriel one where he did the knee slide into the Don?
yeah, I think it was a dive. Yeah.
Oh come on, man!
Mhm.
It was a dive by Gabriel. Yeah, don't know why he was doing flipping knee celebrations in the middle of the box. Did he score? That was such a bozo play by him. Why was he on his knees?
Yeah, he tried to pull out, and he did pull out successfully. He didn't take the player out, in my opinion.
So what did he do?
He didn't take him out. It was a dive.
Oh,
Paqueta said
he
dive.
knee slid into the Don.
We have different thoughts on it, and it's fine. It is what it is. Even if they did score the penalty, we were still stood ahead in the game, and they scored a penalty. I don't know, maybe 35 minutes in, 40 minutes in. We should then go on to go get the third goal. When we were 2-0 up, I was thinking to myself, we need three. Once we get three, there's no way back in for them, back in it for them. Because once you have a 2-goal lead, once a position scores a goal, they're back in the game. If you're 3-0 up, even if they get a goal, they still got to score 2 goals to really get anything from the game. So mentally, that's a big uphill battle for the opposition. So that magic number for Arsenal is 3-0. It should have been 3-0. Should have got to 3-0 against Liverpool last week. Should have got to 3-0 this week again. And yeah, when it's easy for us, that's what happens, I guess. Um Second half, um, yeah, we had a penalty, Saka. I have no complaints about the draw. When you have a chance to go 3-1 up in the game and you end the game 2-2, you got to blame yourselves and the players, man. Outside of what West Ham did, we didn't show up. Arsenal as a team didn't show up, and it's nothing even to do with substitutions like people like to do. People like to go at the manager or this and that, the system. We dropped off after the second goal. I think that was like a 50 period minute where we didn't have a shot because we just literally took our foot off the gas, and yeah, we can't continue to do this. And yeah, as in regards to the title race now, ultimately it's in our hands. If we want to go win a title, we got to win basically every single game, and we got to hope Man City do us a favor here. But it's in our hands. I'm not going to be defeatist mindset or victim here. It's in our hands. We still got to go and win the games and see what happens.
You're still 4 points ahead of City as well, so it's not like
Mhm.
City are ahead of you. You got 4 points, so. But I think for me, Saka's been amazing. It's been sensational this season. But it looks like Saka might cost you lot the league as well now. I say that because the last couple of games he's been pretty bad. He's been poor. And Arteta's love and his blind ideology of keeping Saka in that all for like regardless of how the game's going, it's costing Arsenal games. He's taken off Jesus, who's your most deadly player. He's probably your best player. He was the best player on the pitch by far. You can't say he's trying to preserve him from injuries. He looked fit as hell. He didn't look bad. He was causing problems. Took him off to keep Saka on, who was doing absolutely nothing. You could have taken Saka off and brought on Trossard, kept on Jesus and Martinelli, and I reckon you lot would have got the third. So I think that wasn't a very good substitution for Arsenal. And Partey is your most important player. When he plays poorly, you lot don't play well. You lot lose or draw. Against Liverpool, he wasn't that good. You drew. Against West Ham today, he wasn't that good. You drew. You need Partey to step up as well, because last couple of games, again, he's been falling off. And it's not like you lot playing 3 games or 2 games a week. You're having a week's rest between games now. So I don't know what it is that you lot mentally fatigued. Is the pressure mounting up on Arsenal too much? What is it? Last week was Zinchenko and Xhaka. This week Saka's missing penalties. Partey is getting bookings. He's getting dealt with by Rice. What is it? Because I was thinking to myself, Arsenal look mentally strong now. They've overcome that mental fragility hurdle that was levied against them in the past. But it's like slowly starting to creep in again. Because 2-0 up against Liverpool, that game should have been dead and buried. You should have gone on 3-0, finish them off, but you didn't. You let them come in. You let them get the goal before halftime. They came back, and thank God. You lot can only thank God that you didn't lose that game. Against West Ham today, again, and Antonio, that header where he hit the post, that could have been 3-2. You had a chance to go 3-1 up. You missed the penalty. Horrible penalty. Missed it. So I don't know if Arsenal's mentality is starting to crumble a little bit. Is it the pressure? They've never been in this position. What is it?
Yeah, a lot of people are pointing the finger at Arteta. I will say I have to give credit to Arteta, the way he instills that get at it mentality from the start of games for Arsenal. Arsenal are always on top in the first, I guess, 20 minutes of games. They get a lot of goals. You saw that against Liverpool. They dominated at Anfield, and they done the same today at the London Stadium. Got the 2 goals, but yeah, Liverpool. Arsenal just fell off. They slacked. And yeah, that penalty, they got back in the game. Saka, yeah, there's nothing more to say than you should have put that away. You have to put those away. Killers ain't got time for off days when it comes to these big moments. You should have put that away. And I think overusing Saka and Martinelli is starting to show now. You know, I know you mentioned this, SB, and I was thinking this as well. January, you said that Arteta should just go all out in terms of signings. He got Trossard. Trossard's been great. He's been great. I don't think you could ask any more of him, but do you think they could have done more in the transfer window? And would that lead to Arsenal not having the problems that they're having now?
Okay, cool. I don't think they could have done more, because if you are really going to get somebody who can really impact the season this season, in one of our key positions, that's what minimum. If Mudryk went for 88 mil, everybody else is at least that. So unless you go and find an unproven gem somewhere, and then you have to throw him in the lineup. So it's a catch-22. What do you really do? And I feel like, I remember I said last week, you see, and we don't really have much impact players off the bench. Last week when it was 2-1 down, Saka, Martinelli, even Jesus looking tired. There's no one really to bring on except for Trossard. And today, if you're going to take off Saka, we've seen Trossard on the right. Trossard on the right doesn't work.
Yeah,
we played him on the right against West Ham. He looks out of sorts for like 60 minutes. And for me, we don't have a replacement for Saka, and we sort of have a replacement for Martinelli. We brought in Reece Nelson today, and Reece Nelson, before the season, who was ever thinking of him? So, and if we were not to get the title, it's because we haven't had our first 11 fit enough throughout the whole season. That's the only reason I'll say we didn't get the title, because Jesus was out for 5 months. Partey's been out here and there. Yeah,
when Jesus is out, you won. So you can't say your first 11 being out was what cost you. If he was out and you lot lost, then you could use that. But he were winning.
when we played Man City first time, we had no Party, no Jesus. When we played Everton away, we had no Jesus. When we played that's the only times between those periods, those 2 games, we lost. There's a stat I think I'm not sure how true it is, but when we have our 11 of Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White, Partey, Xhaka, Odegaard, Saka, Jesus, and Martinelli, we've never lost. We had our main first 11 from the start of the season. We haven't lost any games.
But the thing is,
so I'm just saying, if we're that reliant on our first 11, how good is our squads? How credible are title challenges? Title challenge. How credible can it be if you have relying on just those 11 players? And then we had to bring in Trossard. In theory, looking at it from a bird's eye view, outside of the first 13 players, who do you really trust? Do you trust Vieira? Do you trust Reece Nelson? Smith Rowe?
But then look at Saka. You take off Saka, you're saying you don't have a replacement for him. Jesus can play across the front line. You can take off Saka, put Jesus where Saka is, and then put in flipping Eddie Murphy and Nketiah as your number 9. He likes to stay in the box.
I think Arteta doesn't like to take off Martinelli or Saka because he wants to stretch team. He wants to keep teams stretched. Like Saka will stay all the way on the right, and Martinelli will stay all the way on the left, and they're comfortable there.
But when they play like Saka was stretching Arsenal. He wasn't stretching the opposition. He was playing poor. So when he's playing poor, you take him off because then you're taking off Jesus, who is your most deadly player, to try and placate Saka. Not to say Saka's a bad player, he's excellent. But if he's not playing well, as a manager, you got to do something because then what is that sending to the dressing room? That yes, regardless of how Saka plays, he can't come off. Odegaard got hooked. Partey got hooked, but Saka was playing worse than them and didn't get nothing. And then surely Nketiah and Jesus up front will do a thing because Nketiah just wants to be in the box to finish things off, and Jesus will drop and be a menace.
Well, I think the way Arsenal is set up, there's certain players that
are pillars of your system.
Exactly. Yeah. Saka's a pillar, and even if he's not playing,
like Rashford for United, Rashford has to play. If Rashford doesn't really play on your left hand side, it kind of messes up everything.
Yeah. And even if Saka's not having the best game, just the nature of his position naturally stretches the team anyway. So it builds into how Arsenal want to attack teams.
And in what I've noticed with Arteta, he doesn't like to change too much people from too many positions in one go. He wants to make a least amount of changes to the team to make the most impact. So he doesn't want to change people if you change Jesus, then you got to bring another player. He doesn't want to change too many things in one go. And also, the fact that he brought off Jesus at around the same time as last week indicates that he's not fully fit. So it must be a fitness issue why he's bringing him off. And when Jesus was playing well today, he was a better tackler and he still took him off. So I'm going to assume, I don't know, but I don't have all the facts. It's a fitness issue.
But if it's a fitness issue, this is a league issue against Liverpool. If I'm going to sacrifice my players because of fitness issues, it would be we're 2-0 up, we're cruising. I don't really need to keep you up, keep you on the pitch any further, and then bring someone else on. This is a game where you're 2-2. This is do or die. You need these points to win the league. I'm not taking you off.
This is what I'm telling. This is why that's why I really came to that conclusion, because it has to be fitness. He must not be fully fit. He must have. I don't know what data they have, or the doctors are telling him. That's why I'm not too hard on Arteta for that one, because clearly he was a best attacker and he still had to take him off. And maybe he feels I'm not going to risk it. I remember times in the past where Arteta risked certain players bringing them back early and then look to get injured again. So
yeah.
Going back to the question, do Arsenal fans have to look at Edu or whoever is responsible for transfers for not going all out?
No,
man.
No. Yeah, go on.
People will moan and be like, "Oh, Partey, he's been injured," but you've known since I guess the beginning of the season that Sambi Lokonga wasn't good enough, so we need a replacement. Arsenal, they haven't got a replacement.
Yeah, this is weird. Do you go all out to go get a player that's like, for example, fifth in your list that's available, or do you go wait till the summer to get the person who's number one on your list? It's tough. I would say, remember Liverpool a couple of years ago when they got Van Dijk in January? If your team is that complete and you're missing that one piece, go do it. Especially if that piece starts in your starting 11. If any play we get now, it's not an absolute given they will start. There's not many profiles that we can get in January for a decent price that's going to start in our team. So it's tough. I'm thinking, whatever happens, it is what it is. I know these seasons don't always come around. This is the closest we've been to a title.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and we tried to get Mudryk. We did try. And
you can't blame Eddie.
Would Mudryk? Would we be better with Mudryk than or Trossard?
Yeah,
and we did try to get Caicedo. We bid it for Caicedo. So what more can we do?
They tried. Eddie tried because he was willing to spend 160 million in January. It was just that the teams that he was dealing with didn't want the money. Because he offered 80 million for Mudryk and they said no. Offered 80 million for Caicedo, Brighton said no. That's 160. But it's not for lack of trying. They tried, but again, January is very difficult because Brighton are pushing for Europe. They're not going to sell their best player to Arsenal. No chance. And then Mudryk, the guy already come out saying if Anthony went for 100 million, there's no way we're selling Mudryk for less.
Okay,
and they still tried.
That's great.
And then they got Trossard in, who's a very good player. One of Brighton's better players. They still got Trossard in. And then they found alternatives. What's that? Is it Z Rock or whatever, that Polish dummy?
Oh, yeah. For Brighton.
And Jorginho as well. So it's not like they didn't try. It's just the January market is very difficult. Not like Man United. We went and got flipping workhorse. God help us, man.
You could argue the same fact, like United, not in the title race, but they're around it. They're within like 8 points.
We didn't invest.
Should you have gone to go get someone to compete?
Our owners are saying that they didn't have any money.
Because of the nature of the ownership in terms of they didn't know they may be selling. So I understand why money wasn't invested. But Arsenal, you've made great points, both of you, in terms of they did try and they couldn't get the players that they wanted. It could just be a thing of bad fortune if Arsenal don't end up winning the title. And
also, you have to also look at this. Man City, we don't really understand we do understand what Man City are. Man City are a juggernaut. They were the best. They've been the best team in the last 5 years. And I saw a tweet today, it made me feel much better about myself. They spent 500 M's and they then got in Pep Guardiola, the best manager in the world. After that. And then they spent a couple more 100 million and look at the team now. And look at where Arsenal are now. We haven't done nearly as much investment compared to City. So, and look where we are. We're still ahead of City. So I feel better about myself.
I get that, but it's like, look at their most important players. Gundo, 30 mil? Look at Akanji, These players are not more than like 50, 60, 100 million.
Haaland is 51 million.
Haaland 51 million. Like Akanji, not more than 40.
Boy, KDB 45 mil.
Them wages, bro. I've saw a stat Haaland getting like 650 a week.
Ooh.
Yeah, 650 a week.
They're brushing it under that. What's it? The refugees, isn't it?
Yeah,
that milk he's drinking must be made of flipping virgin bison milk or some shit.
It's like 650k.
650.
It's like this. Akanji is a proven professional player. Like I'm trying to say, he's played in the top league for over 5-6 years, and we also brought in Kivior as well. Kivior it's not fully proven in defender. He's 22, played about a full season in Serie A. So yeah, it takes time to build these kind of teams. It just takes time, and whether we do it or not, it is what it is. We gave it a best shot, and I feel better knowing that we're going to be around. I feel we're going to be around for the next 5 years with the team we have anyway, and especially if we get additions we'll be linked with.